Well, hey team, Grant Hagen here with the Reality Capture Recap. Happy Friday. You made it to your end of your week, and it is recap time. It is Friday, April 19th, and we are excited to put together another recap. These are always my favorite part of the week. If I haven't met you yet, my name is Grant. Welcome back in for those that are tuning in with us here. We talk about 5 things right over here to my side as I bring these in. And we go through these 5 topics and really fast through this world of reality capture. And man, what a busy week. Holy cow. There's so much stuff that got announced this week, some new topics. And as I was kind of thinking about them, I was like, man, there's a lot of topics around this idea of robotics. So that's kind of the theme of this week's recap. Don't know how we got to that point or how we landed there, but some really exciting things. And so thanks for tuning in with us here. Let's jump right into the first thing here, right at the top, the best thing I saw. And this one was very interesting. Let's talk about Anzu Robotics. This cannot be condensed down into 2 minutes. We may have to do a whole separate video around this. But Randall Warness, who has been in the drone space for quite some time, had a really interesting announcement and a really exciting announcement, honestly, about this idea of a potential new robotics platform in the drone space here with Anzu. And as I was thinking about how do I summarize this, really what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you really the best interview or the best summary of it for you to go watch yourself on the Pixel Drone Show. If you haven't seen this, go check these guys out. They're doing some great stuff. They interviewed Randall, and it was really just awesome to kind of get a lot of the questions answered around this topic. And you may be asking what questions were asked. Well, it's very interesting. This should be probably a very familiar looking drone to you if you've been in this space for a while. And yes, it is very familiar because it looks like a lot of the drones that many of us have probably used. And what's interesting about that is there's some very hot topics of where some of these get produced and manufactured. And that's just a hot topic in this space right now. And what's really exciting about this is seeing solutions and kind of some new innovative ways to approach that. Again, I cannot get into all this within 2 minutes, but I would encourage you to go watch this video from the Pixel Show because Randall really answers a lot of these. And as I was curious and hearing about this and seeing what was going on in this kind of new announcement, the questions that I really had were answered through this. And really the TLDR here is there's movement in this space where robots get manufactured, the importance of that, if that's a piece of concern for some individuals, there is movement in that space. And what it's really exciting is I just think that as we think about this more and more, continuing to push the boundaries, innovative approaches to these things, it's really exciting to see that. And so to label this as the best thing I saw, really, that was like a multifaceted answer to that because there's so many things that I think were interesting about this. And so again, my timer's up, which I hate, and I'm going to actually hold to it here. But really exciting stuff in that space that I'll put a link to that video and interview, which I would encourage you to go check out if you're interested in more of that. So we're going to go moving down the list here into give them a follow as I pull this up here. And this one was really easy in this space as I was kind of thinking about this theme of robotics here. Lucas has put out some amazing content. I love his little tagline here, Robotics Evangelist, because as I don't even know how I came across Lucas's profile here, but just some of the content that was being pushed out there and some of the stuff that he does to kind of elevate what's going on in this world of robotics. What's funny about it is there's just some really great content. And what I loved about it is he's really doing a great job of elevating just some of the use cases, some of the kind of new things on the horizon in this space, which I just really appreciate. Quick, short, tidbit videos, some new stuff that's going on. If I kind of find through some of the things that he's elevated, and it's all sorts of different industries, which I really appreciate. One, because it's really interesting to see what's going on in this space in different side industries that may be a little bit farther or maybe pushing the boundaries in a little bit different way. And so we see Atlas here, which we'll talk about here in a little bit too. But yeah, just some really exciting things. Lucas, I personally haven't got to meet you, but really just appreciate all the content that you're putting out there around this world in robots. So just say, go give him a follow. Appreciate some of the content that he puts out. And I think you'll also be really encouraged as you see some of the stuff that he's working on. So let's get over here into this next topic of who's crushing it, continuing on the lines of robotics. I had heard about this company through a couple different channels. I think some of you guys actually elevated this and said, hey, have you heard about these guys? And I actually had a chance to use this morning, which was like, hey, I got to talk about this today. And it's in the world of super droid robots. Now, why they're crushing it is one, I think anytime that you can bring simplicity, practicality, really just an all-in-one package, I was like, man, these guys are crushing it. And What's really great about it here, I obviously was on the construction robots page here too, but all different industries, all different applications, all different things that as I was actually using this morning, I was out visiting with a customer. And what's awesome about it is I was just like super impressed. I was like, this thing is awesome. The price point's there, the practicality's there. We were actually testing this in an above ceiling application, and the team was showing me how they're fixing a 360 camera to it and how that helped them kind of understand what was going on above the ceiling grid. And I was just shocked. I was like, this is awesome. It really kind of gave me this like kid moment again, where I was like, man, I can't believe that they actually pay us to do this, to go and actually use these things and to have some very practical applications. So I'll put a link to them. Just go check them out. I would encourage you to, if this is in your wheelhouse or something that you're interested in learning more about, highly encourage you to go check these guys out, because one, I think they're just crushing it, and it was really cool to see and experience it in person as well. So I would encourage you to go check them out. On the horizon, let's move on down the list here. I'll bring up this tab. This one should probably not be of any surprise to folks. This, I think, broke the internet this week in terms of views and on social feeds and all that stuff. And that is the new Atlas from Boston Dynamics. I think as you probably scrolled, you had to have seen this. I think it got 3.8 or so million views. This is just on YouTube alone. I wish I could stretch and move like this, which was kind of creepy, but also kind of cool. I was like, wait, what is this? And obviously I was hooked and went down the rabbit hole of understanding what's going on. So this is not the first humanoid from Boston Dynamics. If you've been in the space for a while, you'll know they actually just announced that they are retiring their first version, which was interesting. A lot of people were like, what's going on? What's going on the horizon? What's coming up here? And I just thought this was really interesting. Boston Dynamics, clearly a leader in the space. None of you should be surprised by that, or probably already know that. But the humanoid space is really interesting. I think kind of building and continuing off of the success and momentum of what they're doing with Spot. It was really exciting. The humanoid space just brings a whole nother level of kind of interest and dynamics to, I think from the reality capture side, there's for sure a lot of applications and use cases that this could also play into as well, that we're just experiencing on the Spot side of it. So while this video is great, of course, I was curious to dive into this more and kind of do my own research on what else is going on. And I came across this article, which I'll actually put the link to this in the description above, really to go and check out. This is a really great interview with Robert that I just appreciated kind of the questions that I had of like, hey, like what was this made for? What were some of the kind of ideas? And I was on a panel with Boston Dynamics yesterday, which we were actually just talking about this, which was just cool to kind of get different perspectives and opportunities of what they were doing kind of in this space as well. So on the horizon, check it out. Would encourage you. I'm sure many of you are interested in what's going to be going on in this space, in specifically how this was going to apply to reality capture, which I think is going to be really exciting as well. So let's get into the last portion here, which is the hot takes. Always a spicy section as we kind of talk through and think about some of these kind of ideas and topics that we wanted to dive into. And the hot take here that I really wanted to dive into was I think a lot of people, at least when I start talking to them about robotics, they want to boil the ocean. I want to do everything. I want to automate this and change this and replace this. And as I was sitting on that panel yesterday with this individual from Boston Dynamics, one of the questions that got asked was, hey, like, what are the misconceptions or what are kind of some of the things that you hear the most as people are kind of coming and approaching you in this world of robotics? And the answer was great. It was just this idea of like, hey, start simply and simply start. Like, find one thing that you want to automate and find one thing that you're going to provide value out of, and then build from that. And what I've been super encouraged by on the DroneDeploy team is our involvement in this space has been really long tenured. I think 5 years seems like a short amount of time, but in the robotics space, that's honestly feels like it's 15 years. And what our team has really been up to is, and I'll put a link to this, which is our kind of refresh robotics page. But it really breaks down some of those use cases that, again, simply start simply. And what was really interesting about it was the biggest use case that we've heard from the folks that we serve in these industries is, hey, I just need a 360 photo in these areas, and I need that to be automated. And what's really exciting about that is we've updated this page. It's really kind of a great overview, and kudos to the team for putting this together to really show and simplify what it is that we do in this space and really what we can offer. And I think what's really exciting about this is as this continues to grow and get more legs to it, no pun intended. But I think what's interesting about it is there's a lot of value here in the different applications that we have. And so would encourage you to go check this out. I really have been just surprised, encouraged by all the work that really you all in the industry are asking of robots. And where our team is kind of stepping in and kind of answering those questions, both from the ground and the air in reality capture. Like that's the really important thing, is that I think the hardware has really started to mature in both the ground and air perspective to make that happen. And so my timer hit. I need to get to the finish line here. I love putting a 2-minute time cap on it because we could talk for hours about some of these topics. But I hope this was encouraging. Thank you to many of you all who send in these links and they're like, hey, highlight this, spotlight this, tell me more about this. It's honestly super fun to get those messages and to get those things sent in because honestly, that's where I'm learning the most and where I'm seeing a lot of the interest in some of these topics. So have a great weekend. Appreciate you tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next week and take care.